picked it in the tri-oval. It's Bud Pole qualifying for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series at Kansas. On a sweatshirt and jacket kind of day, the track has been quite cool throughout the afternoon. But now we are set to roll. And from one Matt to another, Matt Yoakum with the Winston Cup point leader, Matt Kenseth.
1 week after his season's first DNF at Talladega, point leader Matt Kenseth, a little bit of trouble in practice lap 2. What happened, Matty?
I'm not sure, but it just got away from me. We were probably a little bit too loose, and I got in the corner and I was bottoming out a little bit, which actually makes your car tight. And when I got done bottoming out, the right front grabbed the hold, and I just lost control of it. So it was just a dumb mistake, one I try not to make too often, but I did. And I think we'll be able to rebound from. We got a great car for a backup, and I'm sure we'll get it running good.
Now, the primary car had a first and a second, but this car, is this a sister to the car that you wrecked?
Yeah, pretty much. We built the car that's in a trailer wrecked. We built 2 or 3 copies of that car because we like that car so much, and this is one of them. So I feel pretty good about it. We've never had it at a track this big, but it runs good pretty much everywhere we take it.
4 stars this year for the backup car, which is now his primary 4 top 10s. He is excused from rolling out 7th as far as qualifying goes. We'll keep an eye on the 17, still back here in the garage. Dave Burns?
Well, Matt, you know, so many times the week after a guy wins for the first time, we talk about him entering the garage area and what his emotions are and what he talks to people about. Elliott Sadler, after your week last week, what were your emotions when you came to the garage area today?
Just good. I was glad to get back in the race car for one. You know, they say when you get thrown off, you get right back on, and had a great test at Kentucky Tuesday and didn't feel out of the ordinary at all. And just good to come out and see some faces. I got a lot of phone calls from a lot of different drivers and pit crew members and family and friends that we race with and work with every single week. So to get back and be able to see them eye to eye and tell them thank you was pretty cool coming to the garage. So I got up early this morning, made my rounds, tell everybody thank you, and ready to do some racing.
As soon as you hit the track, right up to speed, just feel like you never missed a beat?
No, never missed a beat. I feel good, man. Actually, I guess all the safety equipment NASCAR makes us did its job. I mean, I felt normal Monday morning, so we were very fast right off the truck. The pedigree car is pretty good, and I think we ended up 8th quick, made some changes, and see what happens to qualify.
Threat for the pole?
Yeah, I definitely think we're a threat for the pole. I mean, Jimmy Johnson was very good, but with the changes we made, we're going for it. It's either going to be really too loose on the edge or really fast, so we'll see what happens.
We'll be watching, guys.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome to Kansas. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Jeff Hammond. Well, Elliott Sadler threw out a name, Jimmy Johnson. Let me throw one at you. He's led the most laps here, and quick in practice, Rusty Wallace.
And you know what? He's got a race car that he likes, and they came here and tested. Rusty's trying to accomplish a lot of things. He's trying to get to the top 10 in points, but the biggest thing, pushing toward that 100 race mark, is Rusty Wallace is trying to get a win. This could be the place that it happens.
Jeff, who do you like after having a look at practice here?
Well, I'd kind of like, what Elliott said. I think there's a lot of guys with this new tire they've got here. This time, the right side tire is a little different than what the guys are used to seeing. A lot of these guys said the racetrack's got a ton of grip. So when it comes to qualifying, a lot of it comes back to the driver and what he feels with those last-minute air pressure adjustments. So don't be surprised you don't see a guy like Ryan Newman, surprise, surprise, go out there and put down a really fast time. But at the same time, you got to look back and say, hey, who's hungry? You've already talked about that. Rusty Wallace is probably one of the hungriest guys out there, and Bill Wilburn said this could be their weekend.
The track is fast. In Busch qualifying, just completed, a raft of fellows broke the track record. We just finished, I don't have the whole number, but Michael Waltrip blistered him and broke his own track record, and will start on the pole for Saturday's Mr. Good Sense 300. Winston Cup qualifying. They'll roll the first car when we come back. Speed Channel's coverage of Bud Pole qualifying from Kansas is brought to you by the United States Air Force. Cross into the blue. First car on track will be Bobby Labonte. This is only the 3rd time that the NASCAR Winston Cup Series has been to this all but brand new speedway here in Texas. Bobby started 10th in the inaugural, 31st last year. Started 10th, finished 11th at Talladega last week.
He was 10th quickest in practice. And I was talking to his group this morning, and we couldn't help but kind of laugh at each other. Their luck at the restrictor plate races has been so terrible. They have tore up more race cars. They come across the start-finish line in 11th position. The car don't have a mark on it. They go down into turn 1, and he said pretty much it destroyed that race car.
Wow.
They wrecked after the checkered flag.
170.095 for Labonte, 179.4.
This car is basically a brand new car. It has only competed in the 2 Michigan races. Most of the teams, even though this track is 1.5 miles versus 2 miles at Michigan, most of the teams, if they had some success at Michigan, this place very smooth like Michigan, similar to Banquet, brought their Michigan-type race car here.
Mike, we've been talking earlier about how fast the Busch cars are. Bobby Labonte, first car out, like I say, he was 10th fastest in the first round, but on his first lap, he's already faster than what Jimmy Johnson was early on by almost a full 10th. So this qualifying round should be just like the one earlier. It definitely will be right up there trying to break the track record.
Well, if anybody's going to do it, here's the odds-on pick, Dave.
Well, that's what we usually figure of Ryan, is that he is a pole contender. I looked on the sheet. You're not exactly up in the top 5. What about the lap coming up? Can you do it?
We got a good car. Same one we had at Indy and Darlington, so we'll have to see how it goes. We made a few changes, pretty decent changes, and see what happens. But the Auto Dodge is pretty quick. We'll just see if we can get it in the top 5.
We always watch weather conditions at these places. What about the wind, Ryan? Any effect at all?
Not to be too terribly much. This place has got a pretty good bank all the way around it, so it keeps the wind out of the bowl.
Protected from the wind down here, guys.
Kenny Wallace will be out second. The Stacker 2 Dodge. Kenny struggled in practice, 41st fastest. He's looking for his first top 25 start here.
And we need to say that we have 45 cars here. That means 43 will start this race. 2 cars will be going home. What that also means is with 45 cars here, you need to beat 9 cars to be in that fastest 36 that we talk about each and every qualifying session.
And because less than 43 cars are eligible for a provisional start, the others having used theirs up, provisionals won't count against the teams who do have to use them this week.
Boy, I talked to Felipe Lopez, his crew chief, this morning, and that whole group. Kenny's going to be second quickest out of 2 cars at a 30.41. All they're looking for is just a good run. It has been 23 races since they even had a top 10 finish. They just want a good run on race day.
And as you know right now, Larry, as you go down toward the end of the season, for a lot of these teams, and I talked to several crew chiefs this morning, I said, what are you looking for in the final 7 races? And everybody's saying the same thing. Consistency, and just to try to find maybe some of this missing parts that we've been lacking all year long to try to go quicker as we go into 2004 and get ready to go for another season.
Second lap for Kenny, 4/10 slower. So he is about 3/10 off of Bobby Labonte's current pole speed. We remarked the first time we came here that this track lies right alongside I-70 on the one side and US 24 on the other. Coincidence? I think not. Only one car number has visited Victory Lane in Winston Cup competition here, and it's our next qualifier, Jeff Gordon.
He has been the only one that has visited Victory Lane, and here we'll take a look at him. 2001, the inaugural year, in 2002. Jeff definitely knows how to celebrate out there in the grass doing donuts. And this is not a rerun. Ryan Newman did run second to him in both of these races.
Gordon started second in 2001. He came from 10th last year to win it. And he'll be coming around to face the white flag and complete lap 1.
Jeff was 5th quickest in practice earlier.
That's where he's finished in the last 2 Winston Cup races. Well, second quickest to Bobby Labonte by 5/100ths.
This group definitely starting to build a little bit of momentum. His time is a 30.14. That is about a 10th and a half quicker than he ran in practice, but not quick enough right now to dethrone Bobby Labonte.
No driver has ever won the first 3 Winston Cup races at any track on the circuit. Gordon is trying for that unique three-peat this Sunday in the Banquet 400. Second lap is measurably slower, about a third of a second. So he's second to Bobby Labonte. Matt?
Mike, the sun is starting to come out, and Bobby Labonte picked up about 3/10 from practice. Pleased with the pickup, Bob?
I feel a little bit better now that the 24 car's gone. You know, it's hard to say, you know, when you first go out, but you know, we picked up some. The guys did a good job. We put think we picked the right selection of tires and got the car right and, run a good lap. Picked up some from practice, so that's good. I don't know where it's going to end up. Obviously, going out first is kind of hard to judge that, but still a good run for us. So hopefully it'll stay up somewhere up there, and we'll find out later and have a good car for Sunday, I hope.
2 poles with this race car in 2003. He was 10th fastest in practice. Dave?
Jeremy Mayfield was 3rd practice. Jeremy, you ran a 17. The current standard is an 09. Can you pick it up?
Well, I think so. Our Dodge dealer, GAW Dodge here, has been really good right off the truck and good practice. And if we can pick up a little bit, we'll be right there. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, we will be waiting and watching. Guys, he's been doing pretty well lately. Jeremy on the upside of this season.
Sure has. Dave Blaney, the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Ford. We told you last week about how they brought a Dodge in Talladega and why. Ford Motor Company responded to that by citing the team for breach of contract, and they have now lost their Ford technical support for running the Dodge at Talladega. And Blaney's first lap is 4th of 4 with a 30.46. Looks a little quicker on this lap.
And that's the thing, and Jeff and I were talking to Booty Barker, the crew chief, this morning. It's not that they receive that much of a monetary support from Ford, but sometimes when you think about wind tunnel time and engine technical support, it's hard to put a price on that type of support, and all that's now gone away.
And also, Larry, we've talked about it some last week, that with the affiliation that Penske Jasper has as far as the engine program is concerned and the success that Ryan Newman, including teammate Rusty Wallace, have had this year with the new Dodge program, it's kind of logical to see these guys transitioning toward them to try to be a part of that program to benefit from what they've got going on.
So Dave Blaney is 4th of 4 behind Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Kenny Wallace. And that number of Busch cars that broke the previous track record earlier, 24. Jimmy Spencer, the Sirius Satellite Radio Dodge, for owner Jim Smith and crew chief Tommy Baldwin Jr., and put Baldwin's name in the mix of silly season rumors that he might be headed to a bigger multi-car operation in 2004. Nothing official, but certainly that rumor has been floated around the garage.
And that's what we've seen over the last several years. Yeah, it's as much the crew chiefs and engine builders and engineers and tire changers that get into this silly season mix almost as much as the drivers.
And what everybody's really looking for is that valued chemistry between all the above. If you can get that chemistry between the driver, crew chief, and the engineer, you're almost guaranteed to have some form of success.
Well, certainly Spencer and Baldwin have good chemistry. They're both graduates of the NASCAR Modified Tour, where Spencer was a 2-time champion, and they seem to have gelled well. But in 2 starts at Kansas for 2 different teams, Spencer's looking for his first top 10 start. He's 3rd on his first lap here.
But he did pick up quite a bit from practice, about 2.5 tenths, but right now he's only going to be 4th out of 5 cars, at least on his first lap. And like we've pretty much seen throughout even Busch Series qualifying, he slows down on his 2nd lap.
2 cars have broken the track record so far, Bobby Labonte and the man who's with Matt Yoakum.
And Jeff Gordon just finished debriefing with car chief Steve Letarte. What did you tell him, Jeff?
Well, we made it better, but just not quite good enough. I got through 1 and 2 really good, and just missed a little bit in 3 and 4. We tried to free the car up, and it helped, but probably could have gone a little bit more. And, Bobby put up a heck of a number there, and he's been strong all year long, especially at tracks like this, so not far behind him. Maybe we can hold on to a good, top 5, but if not, we know we got a good, solid effort and a great car, that's for sure.
Currently on the outside pole. Dave?
Kevin Harvick getting in, putting on his head and neck restraint right now to make himself as safe as possible. Now, Marty was busting on you about a nap and everything, but I know your guys here have been working real hard to get this thing better. Were you better at the end of the practice this morning?
Yeah, the Jim Goodwin Chevrolet was quite a bit better at the end of practice. We changed lower control arms, spindles, and all kinds of stuff. So it was pretty good at the end of practice. We just need to pick up like all these guys are picking up. We should be fine.
All right, and Kevin told me also that part of the reason was they tried a setup that worked so well at Chicago, didn't pan out here, and then they made the corrections. Mike?
Ryan Newman, you see, holding it 3rd on this lap. Looks like he's going to break the prior track record, but not that front row.
It looked like back in the middle of turn 3 and 4, he was maybe going in the right direction with this run, but he lost a lot off turn 4, and he's going to be 3rd quickest at a 30.17.
He's definitely got a little bit of a rub right there on that right front tire. You can see a little bit of smoke coming off of it. It'll be interesting to see how the second lap kind of plays out for him. He's losing more time as you go down into turn 3 right there. And Larry, we talk about it time and time again. Sometimes you will gain because you drive in a little too deep. When you do that, you pay the price on the exit of the corner.
And it appears the only way you would run quicker on your second lap, and because Ryan Newman slowed down almost a half a second, is if you just totally miss your marks on your first lap.
Kansas is a track where Ryan has not won a pole or started on the front row. His best effort third last year, and right now he's third. He is the third driver today to break the previous track record on O'Reilly Auto Parts qualifying day.
But as we mentioned, he has finished second in both of those races to Jeff Gordon. Good and solid on race day.
Derek Cope from Spanaway, Washington, the 1990 Daytona 500 winner. In his Great Barrier Reef Chevrolet. Derek will return to the Winston Cup Tour with a full-year sponsorship in 2004.
And plans on trying to maybe run at least 6 of these last 7 races here in this 2003 season. Spent a little time with Derek up at Brett Bodine's charity golf tournament on Tuesday. And you know, boy, and he wiggles big time. And there you see he had to get completely out of the throttle coming off turn 2. That's really going to cost him. But Derek has been designing and actually manufacturing some racing shocks called 2 Quick Shocks. In fact, he had the pole at Daytona in the Craftsman Truck Series with his shocks on Jason Leffler's truck. So a lot of shocks going out to the World of Outlaws Silver Crown Midget. So Derek has a little business going on building shocks and designing shocks as well.
7th of 7 on his first lap, and you saw the bobble down there in turns 1 and 2. It accounted for that.
Didn't bobble quite as bad on that lap, but it just looked like he just can't get back to the throttle and stay in it. Very late picking the throttle back up. And Derek was 45th quickest out of 45 cars in practice.
4 cars are out of provisionals should they fail to make the top 36 as Cope's second lap faster by half a second, but still 7th of 7. We'll run down those 4 for you when we come back to Kansas. The Cup drivers have Bristol. The ASA drivers have Salem. A high bank twister of a racetrack, and tomorrow night at 9 p.m. you'll see the ASA at Salem, Indiana live right here on Speed. 7 drivers have run so far as Jeremy Mayfield brings his Dodge dealer's Dodge onto the track. The cars out of provisionals include the Kodak number 4, the Foyt number 14, the Harris number 14, the Petty's number 43, and the BAM Racing number 49. They are the go or go home cars today.
And Mike, as we take a look right there on the hood of the number 19 car, you'll see Timon, which is part of the Lion King deal that they've got going on with Ray Evernham. And you'll also see a little bit later on, whenever the number 9 Bill Elliott car comes up, you'll see the Lion King with Simba on the hood. But Pumbaa and Timon are right now on the 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. And I've actually got myself a DVD right here. Lion King, believe it or not, guys, is one of my favorite deals. And I brought you each some special tattoos that you can put on from the Lion King. So I just want you to have a little bit of fun. It's like we watched Jeremy Mayfield complete his first lap. And he is presently 4th. Maybe you can pick it up a little bit at 30.322. But I'm pretty happy with the fact I got me a Lion King. You know, it's a special edition here, and it's pretty exciting. Y'all look at me like that for? You think I'm crazy?
Well, you got a DVD and we got tattoos, so I'm just not sure about this program.
Where's the love?
I think while I was in the garage area getting information, you was off conjuring up. Yeah.
I was politicking.
My feelings is hurt.
Guys, I'll share it with you after I get through, looking at it.
You'll let us watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love that
because I know
right
Scott and Katie would love to see the DVD Lion King.
Yep, and your kids as well.
Exactly.
Let's see. Copy for director Mike Wells, producer Sam Flood. Just tell him send a case.
I wonder if Matt needs a copy also. What do you think, Matt?
I'll just have to get one of those and put that right next to Le Mans and Grand Prix in my DVD collection. Ryan Newman, Larry Mack said he felt like you might have lost a little bit of time up off the corner, especially 4. Is that where you feel like you lost it?
Yeah, definitely 3 and 4. I didn't get into 3 the way I'd like to, and especially off of 4. 1 and 2 felt really good, but got to have all 4 corners for 1 lap.
Mike?
Is Kendall a Lion King fan?
Kendall would love the Lion King DVD. So put my name down, put Kendall's name down to watch that.
Larry's son Brandon hopes to be the Lion King. Qualifying night at Lowe's Motor Speedway, gets to run his Lowe's Bandolero car.
We'll be out there in between Busch qualifying, Winston Cup qualifying, trying to get our very first Bandolero career win.
Does he need a crew chief?
Yes, I'm in the looks for one. I'm looking for one.
Sterling Marlin, or Sterling Marlin, depending on what part of Tennessee you're from, in the number 40 Coors Light Dodge.
And we love the Twins. Paint scheme
They're going to sing the national anthem.
And they actually just put a CD out singing, is what I've been told.
Do you have that one, Jeff?
No, I mean, I'm telling you right now, guys, I'm looking at the Lion King. You guys went straight from the Lion King right to the Twins. I mean, caught me a little bit off guard here.
Well, we might love the Twins, but Sterling Marlin loves this race car because this chassis won all 3 races that this team won last year with this chassis. The 2 wins by Sterling early in the year and the win by Jamie McMurray at Lowe's Motor Speedway in the fall.
Well, let's see now. Is Sterling still coming on trackside tonight?
But I don't think he's bringing the Twins. I've already asked.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that in front of Jeff.
I'll trade you a DVD.
Sterling Marlin is 8th of 9, but 1 year ago, this hard hit pretty much put paid to his Winston Cup aspirations for 2002.
I mean, they came into this race. There you see him getting out of the car, but this was the last race for Sterling in 2003. They came here second in the points, only 6 points behind Mark Martin at that point. In fact, it's the first time all year, almost for the most part, other than the Daytona 500, he had not led the points last year.
So Sterling finishes his run, which lands him in 8th position. And Michael Waltrip in the Napa Chevy, fresh off his win at Talladega, comes out for his qualifying pass. He's the pole winner and track record holder in the Busch Series as of just about an hour ago.
Getting ready to say, Mike, he definitely had a nice little warm-up as far as getting ready to make his run. He was kind of high up off of turn 4, which is going to cost him some time.
He knew it pretty much the way it felt. 9th quickest out of 10 cars.
Like he got in, Larry, and he just would not turn down to keep it where he needed to make that exit off the corner.
Well, now you've run the good off the tires, and now it's get what you can get for that second one.
See what he can do with it right here.
Yeah, he just ran a 30.61, and in practice, he had ran a 30.37, so he's lost about 2.5 tenths, and he already knows right there that that's not going to do it either. I would say it must be pushing, not turning.
No. When he goes that far, it's plowing.
Gotcha.
Like a dump truck.
Like whatever, but it definitely was not what he wanted off of turn 4.
And it's probably going to be in provisional land when it's all said and done.
There's a chance of that. He is 9th of 10 right now. Dave?
And Jeff Burton, 38th on the sheet this morning. Jeff, you always told me not to read and believe the happy hour sheets. Do I have to believe this one?
Yeah, you always have to believe the qualifying sheets. It's been a struggle for us. We unloaded. And the first lap we made on the track was our fastest lap, and that's unusual. Most people really picked up their second time out, and the Citgo car just got a lot tighter the second time out. So, you know, it's been disappointing. Really, none of the Roush cars have really run as good today as we'd like to, but we made a bunch of changes. Hopefully we made the right changes, and we'll go get what we can get. That's all we can do.
Are you all following the same pattern? Is there something there that you all are fighting similarly?
Yeah, we're all too slow. That's what we're fighting now. You know, this stuff's tough. You know, it's not an easy sport, and you know, none of us were doing very good. And then when nobody does good, you can't run over and say what you got. You know, what do you have? What are you doing? And one of us will hit it. Well, you know, we won't all qualify terrible. I don't think somebody will hit it. But we all have some gaining to do. And you know me. If I'm 20 in the better, I'll be happy. That's all I'm looking for.
There you go. Start the race and go, guys.
Terry Labonte, what a great season he has had, including that Southern 500 win. Labonte's been running at the finish of the last 35 Winston Cup races. Of course, extends back into last year. And Sunday, he'll make his 775th career start, second among active drivers only to Ricky Rudd, who is 3 starts away from 800.
And this is the same car that he won the Southern 500 with about a month ago, but it was not the car they actually intended on racing here. I talked to Jim Long, his crew chief. They were in Kentucky on Wednesday testing the primary car for here, and Terry wrecked. So they had to get this car ready. It was going to be the backup car, but then they had to get another backup car ready, and they didn't finish until about 10 o'clock Wednesday night, still working in Kentucky to get the truck out here.
Labonte, 10 of 11. His 8 top 10 finishes this season are already more than his combined total of the 2 previous years. No, not Happy Harvick, happy hour. Final practice for the Winston Cup Series tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, live on Speed. Final tune-up for the Banquet 400 Sunday. Now on to Happy Harvick, whose Good Wrench Chevrolet comes out. 1 pole and 1 win this season. Indianapolis, 6 top 10 starts, and he'll make his 100th career Winston Cup start this Sunday.
Kevin was 16th quickest, and you talk about the pole and the win at Indy back in August. This is the same race car that he did it with, plus ran 2nd at Michigan in August with this car as well.
And this is another one of those racetracks that seemed like it fits Kevin Harvick's driving style, a lot like Chicago, which he's very good at. But he's had 2 top 10 finishes here in the first 2 outings here at Kansas Speedway, so look for him to be strong. And right now, he's 5th fastest in his first lap at 30.386.
2nd in the Winston Cup points, and he has scored more points since mid-season in those 11 races than any driver, with 7 top 5s and 8 top 10s.
He is not bashful about using up racetrack off turn 2, I will say, but it worked on that first lap, you know, 5th quickest at a 30.38. So he picked it up. In fact, that's about exactly what he ran in practice, and he's going to slow down a couple of tenths on lap 2, which we've been seeing pretty much in everybody.
Matt?
Jeremy has Timon on the hood, and your car's 4th on the grid at this juncture. Pleased with that lap, Jeremy?
Well, overall, yeah, but you know, we had a good car this morning, ran real good, and I just got a little tight in qualifying there. But
a scale of 1 to 10, how tight was it?
About 2 or 3, just enough to slow us down a little bit. We weren't out there in the top 2 or 3, but still got a great car. Dodge dealers, JW Dodge, really good all day, and excited about it. Getting ready to go inside of here.
You got the black uni this weekend too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool with flames on it, and you know, I think next year we'll have to vote on the black car. I think it'll be pretty cool. Black car, black helmet, black suit, the whole deal, you know.
Oh, that could be a great online poll. Today, Burns.
Bill Elliott has taken to the new Kansas Speedway pretty well. A 5th place finish last year, 3rd place qualifying in 01. Bill, how about today? How good is the car?
Well, you know, you always chase a racetrack here, and I think where Dodge is pretty decent, but you never know. You know, we never got a real good clean shot for a qualifying run in practice, so we'll just have to wait and see what we got.
All right, sometimes frustrating, guys, when you can't get exactly the lap you need in practice to see what you've got.
Elliott Sadler, green light. From upside down to a shot at the pole. Here comes Sadler.
It's going to be close, guys.
No.
3rd quickest. I think he lost it down there in the middle of 3 and 4 off, a lot like what we saw with Ryan Newman earlier.
He's going to play 2.
He pretty much had it all the way to about turn 3. As you heard him talking, he was 8th quickest in practice. They tested this car at Kentucky, this very car here, back earlier in the week, as a lot of teams did. This racetrack a little similar to Kentucky, and you don't get charged for one of those NASCAR tests, but he's going to slow down about 1/10 and a half on his 2nd lap, so he'll be 3rd quickest right now.
Well, it erases the question in any of the casual observers' minds as to whether that flip at Talladega would take...
Man, I had just got a little bit too loose off turn 2.
Whether it would take any of the edge off Sadler, and obviously it didn't. He gave it his all.
This is coming down the backstretch. And this was kind of, I think, this move was made because of a move he saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car make, and he gets down into Kurt Busch. And the licks this car took as it was coming down, I think the total flips was 5 times. But because of the rule of not racing back to the caution, I was amazed. And I think Benny Parsons, those guys last week did a great job of documenting how quick the safety workers got to this race car. And that's one of the reasons we're not racing back to the caution right now. There you see them right there.
And the cars are still, you know, they're not even to the flag yet to take the yellow, and the safety equipment's on the scene. That was was great, and a big heads up to all the NBC cameramen, because they had that covered up, down, and sideways.
Yeah, they did a great job. And Elliott said the same thing when I talked to him earlier this morning, that he couldn't believe how quickly they got there, but how glad he was to see him. And with that being said, he said, I could not believe, Jeff, that when I got out of the car, everything was okay. He said, I really, as bad as it looked, he said, I felt great that afternoon, and I felt even better on Monday morning, a lot better than I thought I would have felt. So, again, safety rules that are implemented by NASCAR are there for a reason, and you've got a real good testament of why this past Sunday.
Terry Ford was our cameraman on the super slow-mo there. What a great job. Great job. Folks, if you think it's easy to capture a car moving across your field of vision at 200 miles an hour,
That guy's Johnny Sauter. He's going to be 13th quickest out of 14 cars. That's bad news, but what's even worse news, he's out of provisionals.
And Bud Pole qualifying continues here at the Kansas Speedway, and Elliott Sadler, a great lap. But how much do you feel like you left out there, Elliott?
I got a little bit too loose off turn 2, and I had to get out of the gas. So I told him that was the difference. I was after it so hard, I really wanted to pole with these guys, make it 2 in a row. But that's going to be good. That's going to be in the top 10, I think, for the day is over with. And so proud of my guys. They've had a pretty long week. We went tested at Kentucky, but they didn't ever give up on me. And we got a great race car again this weekend. So happy to everybody, M&M's, Pedigree, Coca-Cola, Ray Besters, Juice Batteries, Ford, UPS, everybody stood behind us this week. Thanks so much.
The team guys told me they can feel the momentum turning. They feel like this could be a very good weekend. Elliott Sadler currently 3rd. Mike?
Kyle Petty in the Brawny Dodge, number 45. And look at that green light. Boy, there's a welcome sight.
Well, I tell you, this is going to be a great run for Kyle. Considering he was 31st quickest in practice, let's see if he can do it.
What happened? 13th.
But lost a ton of time off turn 4.
Or we've got a little problem with our pace chase. Sorry, Kyle. 30.673, 176 flat. And that'll put him 13th to 15th. I don't know about you, but I had my hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking there, and we had a green light, and it was even getting quicker and quicker. And then when things kind of didn't look right was when he got over to turn 4. And I don't think the telemetry was right.
Second lap for Kyle, and it is slower by about 0.3. He should be okay for a provisional, should he need one. And here's Dave.
And Jimmy Johnson, you know, looking at this morning, Rusty Wallace was having such a great practice time, and then you had to go there at the last and put a big number up there. Was that part of your plan?
Well, we're trying to go fast too, and this Slows car has been awesome. I have to thank everybody, Hendrick Motorsports and Chad and the guys for working so hard. Hopefully we can do it again when it counts. It's one thing to do it in practice when the pressure and the money's not on the line, but to do it again here in a little bit is going to be something else. Bobby put up a great lap. It looks like they just got their car a lot better. Looks like the track's about the same, and hopefully we can pick up a little ourselves and maybe make Rusty mad again.
Yeah, exactly, because he still wants a pole, you think, probably.
Oh, he does. I asked him how fast he was going to go. He said, it doesn't matter. I'm going to win the pole. I want the pole. Don't take it from me. So it's just good competitive fun. And the way his teammates been all year long, taking poles away from everyone, and I should have 3 or 4, and then Ryan comes in and squeaks it out. So those Spencer cars are going to be tough to beat regardless.
All right, it's time to get one back for Hendrick Motorsports, guys.
Kurt Busch trying to reverse the Roush fortunes of 1 week ago in his Sharpie Rubbermaid Ford, 20th on the practice list, looking for his first top 10 start here.
These guys came here and tested about a week ago, and I talked to his crew chief, Jimmy Finney. They really felt like they hit on something maybe that has been fighting them for about 2 months now, where the car just wouldn't turn. They felt like in that 2-day test here, they definitely figured some things out.
6th on his first lap, and just about 0.3 off Bobby Labonte's current pole speed.
I think, as everybody knows, Kurt Busch is a big baseball fan, and earlier this week he was down in Atlanta watching Chicago Cubs in the Atlanta Braves play.
And he's going to hold at 6th. Second lap is a little bit slower. So he is the second fastest Ford behind Elliott Sadler. Jeff, the Roush cars, most of them had problems in qualifying, and they used up a lot of the provisional spots last week at Talladega.
Yes, they did, Mike. And then during the course of the race, they also had some problems that put point leader Matt Kenseth out of trouble and out of the race. And what happened there, and talking to the engineers there with guys that work with Roush, they told me what happened was actually this retainer right here that holds the valve spring keeper on. This is the valve spring keeper. This is the valve, but this little retainer ring, this little split ring right there that holds this in place, actually wore out, creating a problem for the valve and making the valve drop. And when that happened, the engines on the 21 as well as the 17 and the 99 all were because of this problem right here, but they believe they've got it fixed. Not looking for any kind of problems this weekend here at Kansas.
Reminds me of something Robert Yates once said, we're all at the mercy of our suppliers.
And the unique thing, guys, it happened on all three of those cars in about a 10 or 15 lap window. Jeff, I think you talked to Jeff Thaxton, that's the engine guy on the Roush cars. He said looking at the other three Roush cars, they were on borrowed time as well.
Definitely. You have to be lucky right there, and they had luck with three of them. The other three didn't fare so well, and one of them just happened to be the 17 car. And trust me when I say Jack Roush and that whole group up there, they're working continuously to make sure that these cars finish races, especially that 17 car with the opportunity they've gotten to win a championship. But looking at teammate Jeff Burton right there in the 99 car, his car was really wiggling around a lot right in the middle of that corner and going up the racetrack, which can cost you a lot of valuable speed if you're trying to go fast.
Now, he climbed way up the hill at turn number 2, trying to best a 30.63, and he is not able to do so, so he sits 13th fastest of 17 drivers who've taken time so far.
Gotta go tail back and made it up to 4th.
Speed News, Sunday, NASCAR edition, 7 p.m. Speed News World Class, 7:30. The rest of the world of motorsports and NASCAR Victory Lane at 8. If it rolls, it's on Speed News Sunday night. Kenny Schrader in the BAM Racing Dodge.
A lot like the 4 car, the Morgan McClure car, this team is out of provisionals, but he was pretty good shape in practice. If he can just back that up, he was 21st quickest.
AT&T there on the taillight panel, and this team got a little good news this week. They're going to get some support from Dodge for the 2004 season. John Fernandez and the Dodge folks impressed with the effort that Tony and Beth Ann Morgenthau and their team have shown. They're going to add them to their support list for next season.
Probably more important than anything else when you talk about getting support from the factory is the technological part of that process, because the wind tunnel numbers and all kinds of engineering information that comes along with it, not just the money, is so invaluable when you're trying to run, especially a one-car operation.
And Schrader is 16th of 18 on his first lap.
And he missed his, he missed his practice time by 2/10 on that first lap, so I don't know if he can pick it up on the second lap or not, but yeah, he's right back there with Johnny Sauter, and both those cars that we keep mentioning are out of provisionals.
Yeah, it's the go or go home list. And Schrader's second lap is not faster. So Schrader, 16th of 18. Here's a threat for the pole, Dave.
Yeah, and I accused Jimmy Johnson of ruining his morning earlier, but practice isn't what counts today, is it, Rusty?
No, it's the qualifying lap that gets it done today, and we got a great car. It's been running really good in practice. We tested here a couple weeks ago and changed every spring and every shock, everything in this car from last year's setup, and it really woke it up. So just got to go out there and drive it like I stole it right now and try to get my first pole of the year.
That would be good. He would start to work his way toward that teammate of his who seems to be stealing those headlines all the time, guys.
Well, there'd be a certain irony, wouldn't it, in having the Miller Lite car in the Bud Shootout next February?
Absolutely. And again, talking back to his crew chief, Billy Wilburn, earlier today, Rusty's attitude right now is we've got things going our ways, guys. We can win this weekend. And if attitude has anything to come into play this weekend, look for Rusty Wallace to be able to fight for a win on Sunday.
Wouldn't surprise me. Ricky Craven for Cal Wells, the Tide Pontiac, and add to the silly, not so silly season list of rumors that he will have a teammate in 2004.
And I know I've talked to Cal Wells quite a bit, and he just feels like that's one of the things that he needs for PPI to take it to the next level, is have that teammate for Ricky Craven. Ricky's going to be 13th quickest at a 30.63. Don't know that they'll be totally happy about that, but considering they were sitting back there 42nd quickest in practice, this is looking a little bit better.
Craven started 9th in the inaugural here and 20th last year. A lot of rumors about who that teammate might be. A lot of folks thinking it'll be a veteran driver currently in Winston Cup. Don't know who the sponsor will be, but understand they bring it to you. We'll see how that plays out.
Going back to what Larry was saying about having that teammate, how important that is. It just doubles your information whenever you go someplace and test. It just gives you an opportunity to have somebody to always go directly to get that extra little bit of information when you're struggling and how things kind of work out from time to time.
Ricky Craven 13th. Bobby Labonte is the fastest here in Kansas so far. Kart driver Alex Tagliani joins Dave Despain Monday night in the tunnel. Tuesday, it's the King, Richard Petty, and Thursday, the voice of drag racing, John Force. Will Dave get a word in edgewise? Tune in Thursday, Wind Tunnel at 9.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, this man right here, this racetrack has did good to him the first 2 years here. Bill Elliott in that 9 car, qualified in the top 5, the only driver to qualify in the top 5 for both races, and then finished 5th last year.
And who's on the hood? Is that Simba?
Simba right there from the Lion King. Guys, did you realize that the Lion King was the highest grossing animated film ever? I'm just full of little...
He bounced off the apron and just about ran out of racetrack.
But look what he did doing it, guys. 3rd quickest for Bill Elliott.
Yeah, but wouldn't want to try that again.
He's going for a 2nd one here, though, it looks like.
Where's that crew chief at now saying, that's okay, bring it on in.
That'll do just fine.
He's definitely feeling like the king of the jungle right now.
Bill was 12th quickest in practice. He slows down a good 2/10. And I think a lot was what you saw, Mike.
Yeah, but that slowdown lap would have been 7th fastest, Larry.
Yeah, he was quick and he was good.
Bill Elliott, 3rd. Dave?
Ward Burton getting his Hutchins device on. This car was excused from the qualifying line earlier, Ward. What were the litany of problems you guys were fighting?
We changed steering boxes, changed the pump. It seemed like it was the reservoir, so we really never got a good lap in, but hopefully with the changes we've made, it'll help us out, and teams worked real hard today. We just had a little difficulty getting some good laps in, so we learned a little bit about the chassis.
And real quickly, the feeling in the steering wheel was like what?
It would have a real hard place to the left and then free up same to the right, and I'd go in the corner and do a lot of that, so it wasn't a happy feeling.
Not good, especially when you're qualifying, Mike.
Thanks, Dave. Jason Leffler on track and still having problems with the pace chase. We'll bring it back when we're confident that it's accurate. So here's Leffler in the Net Zero Pontiac, the Long Beach, California 3-time USAC Open Wheel champ. He's going to race in the Busch Series tomorrow and in the Banquet 400 on Sunday.
You know, I believe it's getting a little warmer out there, and I'm almost starting to see the sun peek out. Matt, I know you can give me a track temperature and what it's doing.
Well, Larry Mack, the sun is peeking through the clouds. The wind is holding steady. At the start of qualifying, the track temperature was 81.9 degrees. It has climbed steadily to 87.3. So that just makes Bill Elliott's run even greater.
Well, I tell you what even makes something greater is Jason Leffler's run. He just sits on the outside of the front row with that first lap. 30-13, he's right there. Good lap.
That is a great lap for Leffler, and it proves, Larry, there's no substitute for seat time. Running that Busch car has really picked up his program. Matt?
And Bill Elliott, a great run for you today, Bill.
Not bad. We feel pretty good with the Dodge, but, you know, I'm sure somebody will be pretty good later, but I'm proud of the guys. They've worked hard for us, and hopefully it'll hold up for something anyway. Thank you.
A great run by Bill Elliott, and this is a great race car. His last 3 wins in Winston Cup, Homestead, Pocono, and Indy all came in this big red Dodge.
King of the Jungle. Here's how it looked about in the early 1950s. I believe this is a late Hudson Hornet. No air dam, no spoiler. Fender skirts and
no roll cage.
Probably no aero push. That's dressed up like Tim Flock's car, and that's pretty cool. Mark Martin, the Viagra Ford, will be our next qualifier. He'll be the 22nd driver to take time. Right now it's Chevy, Pontiac, Chevy, Dodge, and the first Ford is Elliott Sadler in 5th place. Let's give our pace chase another try here. Showing Martin at 22nd quickest, well off, but did not have a good practice this morning.
Yeah, I mean, he was 37th quickest, and we talked about Sterling Marlin coming here before that injury. Second points to this man. What a difference a year has made. I mean, Mark is sitting there right now back in 16th in points, and I mean, they have hit a brick wall that just won't even budge right now.
He is 22nd of 22 right now with that first lap, and it's well off. That car has a big problem. He's 2.7 seconds off of Bobby Labonte, and he's 1.3 seconds behind the next slowest car. So a tough day here for Mark Martin.
Looks like certainly this lap's going to be quite a bit better than that first lap. Yeah, I'll say he picks up 2 seconds, but he only picks up 2 spots, the 20th quickest.
Mark Martin struggling here in Kansas as Bobby Labonte is quickest. Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's Chevrolet started second here last year. He has 14 top 10 starts this season, 1 pole that came in June at Pocono, and 3 wins.
This car was brand new at Indy a couple of months ago. They tested at Kentucky here just a few weeks ago, and he was the fastest cat in the alley, but not quite as quick as Bobby Labonte was in practice. And I think, Jeff, so much speed going in that corner, soft setup on the smooth racetrack, the right front tires actually bottoming out up in the top of the fender. That's what the smoke was. But you look right here, halfway to turn 3 and 4. Definitely looking like a good run and gaining all the time. This is going to be a great run for Jimmy Johnson.
Like a rocket ship.
29.93. 180.373 miles per hour on a 1.5-mile racetrack.
First time any Winston Cup car has broken 30 seconds here at Kansas.
I mean, that's over 180 miles an hour right there.
Dude. Maybe a half a tenth left at 3 and 4. I just was a little nervous to the green. Left just a little bit through 3 and 4, but no one could touch that 1 and 2.
And Jimmy knew it was going to be on that first lap. As you notice, he shut it down, didn't even think about running the second lap. 1 and done.
And here's Matt with the biggest surprise of qualifying so far.
Jason Leffler qualified 11th for the Busch Series race tomorrow, and a great effort here. Did the Busch effort help out the Winston Cup effort, Jason?
It sure does. It, just gets you going in the morning, and you're going to relate some information, but it's mainly the track time. And got to thank Bill Engel over there, Tony Furr over here, and everybody, Gene Haas, Joe Custer, Net Zero, Haas CNC. We got a great race team, and it's nice to come here and qualify good after last weekend.
Mini-Me currently 3rd on the grid.
But let's don't forget, guys, that he did sit on the pole for this race 2 years ago.
That's right.
But the confidence I think this group has, Tony Furr, Jason Leffler, is everything is set for this team next year. The sponsor, the owner, the driver, and they felt so good about it. This week, they signed 22 of their people to contracts.
Wow.
They don't want any of their people going away.
Ward Burton in the Cat Dodge comes out for his qualifying run. Jimmy Johnson, to put this in perspective, has just blown away the track record by 0.4 of a second. That's pretty incredible.
Yes, it is. I think that just shows how much the competition gains. But I think conditions here are very favorable for those types of speeds.
You take track conditions and probably a little bit of a change with the tire has really kind of like made this whole qualifying session a lot faster.
Ward Burton talked earlier about how power steering problems prevented them from getting in much practice time, and he is 23rd of 24.
And I think what happened, I talked to his group this morning, this is a brand new race car, untested, and that's the chance you take. Even if you don't go and shake it down at a short track, that's the chance you take that one thing on that car might not be working properly when you actually get to the racetrack.
Burton's second lap is only a 10th off of his first, but that's way down the chart. Here is Matt with the new Speed King of Kansas.
And he's trying to contain that excitement because you've got some fast guys coming, but still you broke the track record by over 0.4.
And if you're going to do it, might as well do it big. You know, just this whole race team is an amazing race team. All of Hendrick Motorsports, support from Lowe's and their employee owners. And just this week, Chad has put so much focus on it, as every week, but he's had a lot in store for this week, and hopefully this time will hold up. The motor shop's been incredible. Our bodies are incredible. Everything's clicking. We're doing great, you know. So either way, it's going to be a great starting spot. Hopefully we're on the pole with this Lowe's car, and you know, maybe we can be up front on Sunday too.
Now, how much did you feel like you lost out there? A half a tenth?
Just a little. I mean, I hate to say I got it all and then somebody beats me, you know. So to pad, you know, to pad it in case I am beat, there is a little bit left in 3. The car's, you know, it was a little nervous coming to the green into 3, so I watched myself just a little bit getting in there and left just a touch. But it was an awesome lap.
Sure was. Johnny Benson, the Valvoline Pontiac, 3 top 10 starts in 2003. He qualified 6th here in the inaugural.
It's going to be a good lap for Johnny. He was 11th quickest in practice. This team elected to bring 2 cars out here about a week ago in test, and he ends up 9th quickest right now at 25 cars on his first lap.
Looks like he might be able to better that. On lap 2, floating there with a top 5, and a little easy into turn 3. And now it comes back to him just a bit.
Mike, Johnny Benson along with Ward Burton, a couple of guys that come out here to Kansas would like to be able to get through this weekend and put up a decent finish, because they've not finished either one of these first 2 races here at Kansas. They're looking just to get a checkered flag in if they get a chance.
You can win a trip to New York City to work as a special correspondent at this December's Winston Cup Awards ceremony. Pay special attention Sunday to which driver is leading the race at lap 50, 5-0, for your chance to enter the NASCAR Big Apple Sweepstakes. Greg Biffle, the reigning Busch Series champ, comes out in his Granger Ford. In both of his Busch appearances here, he finished in the top 5. And he is the circuit's only first-time winner in 2003 with that Pepsi 400 victory in Daytona.
Greg was 29th quickest in practice. This is a brand new race car, but about like a dozen teams, they elected to come out here last week and test, but all they worked on, Jeff, was race runs, no qualifying runs.
Larry, you know yourself in years past, we see Greg Biffle's first lap puts him in there at 11th fastest right now. But this is a racetrack that in its infancy has been very difficult to pass on, so you need to get a good start position, but you've also got to have a race car that can hunt the bottom of the racetrack. That upper groove has not come in like a lot of people had anticipated, but maybe with this new right side tire, we'll see some guys. Greg Biffle is way high after off of turn 4.
Did he hit it?
If he didn't, he come about as close. Doug Richard there. Doug Ritchie.
Well, Biffle mirrors Kurt Busch's time. The 2 Roush teammates post identical laps. 30.372.
But the 97 car will start in front of Greg because he's ahead of him in owner points. And Dave, who you got for us?
Well, Larry Mack, you need to put out an APB for DJ here. We need a brown number 88 car. What's the deal? Is Tech slow today? Where's your car?
Yeah, I don't know. Been out in the motorhome watching y'all on TV and seeing what was going on, and just came up the back way and expected to be here. So I'm sure they'll be here eventually.
I see a time on the sheet. So you were in the car today. How is it?
Yeah, the car's not bad. Need to pick up a little bit of speed, but that'll be up to the driver to see what he can do whenever it comes my time. It's a big guessing game with the tires. Which set of tires? You know, we had 3 to choose from, and normally you're on stickers, but this is a different place, and I'm actually going to be going out on the very first set of tires I was on. They have the most laps on them, but that's what we ran our fastest time on, so that seemed like the ones we need to be on.
Well, there you go. Guys, let's get our cameras on it. We'll help DJ out here, okay?
All right. It's right coming out of the inspection bay. Well, it's headed out of the inspection bay. We'll see if it gets out of there or not. Rusty Wallace, who everybody feels is a threat for the pole and the win this weekend here in Kansas. He's led the most laps at this track. He has 2 top 5 finishes in the 2 races here, and he is loaded for bear.
Plus, he's on a roll this year. He's had 4 straight top 10 finishes. Let's see if he can do it. 3rd quickest, 30-10. He picked up a little bit from practice, but not quite enough.
Wallace is the 10th driver to break the previous track record.
Car really looks good, though, Larry. It's down there hunting that white line. Front end really sealed off. Car looks very stable. Getting in the corner, he's able to turn it right around the bottom of the racetrack and get back in that throttle.
When Rusty qualifies this good, you definitely need to look out, because, I mean, this car has been a good car for these guys. They had a great run back at Fontana in the spring. This is the chassis that finished second at Indy as a brand-new car last year, but he slows down about 4/10 on that second lap, so right now Rusty will be third in the Miller Lite car.
So after 27 cars, it's Chevy, Dodge, Pontiac, Chevy, Dodge, Ford in 7.
He may not have to drive the truck. There it is.
The new NASCAR.com Superstore for officially licensed NASCAR merchandise and products from over 50 drivers. Go to NASCAR.com, click on Store. Joe Nemechek, who will be in the Busch race tomorrow and the Cup race on Sunday in the UAW Delphi Chevy number 25.
This guy struggled in practice. He finally ended up 32nd quickest, but he was down about the bottom of the charts most of the day. This car had a great run at Chicago going a couple of months ago, but lost an engine even before the first pit stop. And this car they feel pretty good about.
Finished 4th here last year. He's qualified 10th for tomorrow's Mr. Good Sense 300.
Just watching that car, Larry, it looks kind of nervous. Just like, Joe's having to chase it quite a bit. I'm seeing him working it. You see that a lot of times when guys are trying to go fast, but the car just doesn't really look like it's in a racetrack to me.
He picks it up on that second lap, but picks up a 10th of 30.53, so he'll be 18th quickest.
Matt?
Real good. Real good.
And Rusty Walsh, what do you think about that?
That was a good run. I thought I could get the pole, but when Johnson knocked out that 93, I said, man, that's pretty strong right there. But I ran a 17 in practice, qualified at 10. Right now we're third. It really went through turn 1 and 2 like a bullet, and 3 and 4. And thought I'd go for the second lap, see if there's anything there to what, nothing there. So we'll take that. Car's been quick all through practice. We tested here a couple weeks ago and learned a lot of things. So pumped up, maybe just a week.
You have to be excited about this place. I mean, you nearly won this race back in 2001.
Oh, yeah, the first time here, I mean, we led all day long, and right there at the end, I made a pit stop and left too quick, and NASCAR nailed me for speeding, and that was it. But still, was able to come from dead last in that restart and make it up to 4th, and last year we finished 3rd, so, hey, we're close to Missouri. That's hometown, right? I'm supposed to be doing good up here.
Very close.
Very close. Thanks a lot.
If enthusiasm and experience will get you to victory lane, look for Rusty there on Sunday.
Boy, he has some bounce in his step.
Oh,
like I say, he's been on some good runs here of late.
Here's your Winston Cup champion of 2002, Tony Stewart, the Home Depot Chevy. He's finished 3rd the last 2 races. Won the pole back at Chicago.
9th quickest. 30.27. And Tony and this whole group doing what they normally do about this time every year. They're starting to come to life with 2 third-place finishes at Dover 2 weeks ago and then last week at Talladega.
Larry, I asked one of the crew members about that today. I said, what's the deal here? He said, well, we're doing the same thing we do all year long, is to try to get things consistent and be predictable and be competitive. And it makes you wonder if these guys just keep doing the same thing week in and week out, and everybody else is just getting tired at this time of the year, because the last 2 years, this team right here has by far been the strongest at the end of the season than anybody else when it comes to Winston Cup.
So Stewart garners a 9th for his effort. Here's Dave.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. qualified 16th in his Busch car just a little while ago. Expect a better number from your Cup car here, Bobby?
Man, as long as we're in top 36, all I care about. But I think our car is better than that. I think it's top 15 car. So we just missed it on the Busch stuff, tried stuff, missed it. Simple as that. But the Busch car, the Cup car, we've got to get in top 36 so we can get this thing going for Sunday and run with these guys. Have a set of 200 laps, have 267 laps full of fun. So we're going to try to get in this thing.
That's right. It's only double duty if he puts it in the show, guys.
Good point. Todd Bodine, the National Guard Ford, coming out for his run. Todd will also be in the Busch race tomorrow in the 48 car for George Devidar. Todd missed the show last week, first time this season that he's failed to qualify. He ran the Busch race here last year and started 3rd.
Larry, talking about Bobby Hamilton Jr. trying to do the double this weekend, do you think it's easier to go from Busch to the Cup car? Like if you went qualified the Busch car like he's doing and have to jump in the Cup car, would you rather see it be vice versa?
I don't know, you know, but because the rules are getting so close, and of course they're on the same tire and everything else, I don't know if it makes a big difference. As Todd's going to end up 14th quickest, he'll be one and done. But I know it used to be the biggest problem when you'd have to qualify a Busch car. I go back to my days with Davey Allison and Ernie Irvin. They tend to want to overdrive the Winston Cup car with that 100 more extra horsepower they have without the 390 carburetor.
Jimmy Johnson and Bobby Labonte right now, a pair of Chevrolets are poised to sit on the front row. You can follow this weekend's racing action live online with NASCAR.com's Track Pass for a free trial. And more information, visit NASCAR.com. Larry Foyt in the Harris Dodge. Now this is another of the 4 cars that are out of provisionals and kind of on the go or go home list. Now only 2 cars will go home, but for Foyt, who is driving with a cracked wrist from Talladega, he's got to try to get in the top 36 here.
I talked to Larry last night. Jeff and I both did. And he said, I'm telling you guys, that's the hardest lick I believe I've ever taken in my life. And he wasn't sure how he was going to feel in this race car. He was 39th quickest in practice. Right now, he's going to be 28th quickest out of 31 cars. But just to be safe, he's going to have veteran Busch driver Mark Green standing by for him. A couple of weeks ago, this team decided with a handful of races to go, we need to try to fix some of our problems. Not even knowing what the problems were, they somewhat had a house cleaning. In fact, for the next couple of weeks, they've taken Greg Connor from the Craftsman Truck Series, Robert Presley's crew chief, and they're going to let him work with Larry a couple of weeks as the crew chief to see if that can make a difference.
Picked up a little bit on that second lap right there, which may help his cause him just a little bit. Winds up being 27th fastest.
You and Jeff spent some time at Harris last night. How'd you do?
Well, we signed about 10,000 autographs, I think, but that's as far as I went was the autograph session.
Here's Dave.
Ricky Rudd was pretty good in practice this morning. Your best qualifying on a non-restrictor plate track has been 8th this year. You have a chance to better that, don't you?
Yeah, we really do. I mean, all these guys, they've worked real hard. Pat Trice and all the guys on the Motorcraft board, they've been working hard, trying to get caught up. We've been behind quite a bit. But recent weeks, you know, we had a 3rd and a 2nd and 11th, and it's getting a lot better, and even the qualifying effort's picking up. So sun's coming out a little bit. I don't know. I've been watching your broadcast, and I don't know if that's a plus or a minus right now, but Jimmy Johnson laid down a pretty good lap. You know, we're hoping for a top 5, and that'd probably be our best shot.
All right, experts, plus or minus?
What, watching the broadcast?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Because I heard you say earlier on the Busch race, you thought too much cloud, too cool. Is the sun a good thing right now?
I don't think that we've seen that big of a change. You know, Matt Yoakum documented a while ago the track temperature had only changed about 4.5, 5 degrees. I just don't know that there has been a big advantage or disadvantage throughout this whole qualifying session. Maybe Matt here in the next little bit can get us another track temperature. Matt, how about it, buddy? It was 87.3 about 15 cars ago.
Well, Larry Mack, the sun just came back out, and we had a huge cloud. The track temperature dropped from 88.1 down to 82.3, 80.8, now 79.7.
You start dropping that much from 88 to 79, you may see a difference as Robbie Gordon's going to be 16th quickest. But without that sun out there, it's going to take, I think, a big temperature swing to make a huge difference. And every time we think we have a pattern, somebody goes out there and cuts a lap that throws our pattern or our theory out the window.
Robbie Gordon just cut a pretty good one. He and teammate Kevin Harvick are only 300ths apart, 15th and 16th. 16th for Gordon at 30.41.
And it was exactly 2 years ago that Robbie Gordon stepped into this 31 car, subbing for injured Mike Skinner. So this is the 2nd anniversary for the most part that he's been in this 31 car.
So 32 drivers have taken time. Of the 4 cars that are out of provisionals, 3 of them are in the bottom 7. And the other is on track right now. This is Jeff Green, who's going to wheel the 43 for the next few races for the Petties, the Cheerios Dodge.
He was 22nd quickest in practice, Jeff.
Yeah, if he can just back that up right now, which Jeff is more than capable of doing, they should be in the field pretty solidly. I think that having this veteran driver in the 43 car the remainder of the season will definitely help their car as far as qualifying is concerned, as well as their race results.
Of course, Christian Fittipaldi had been driving this car, except when he was driving the 44 Bugles car, as he did at Talladega last week. But they announced this week that they think they're going to keep Jeff in this car for the remainder of the year. I think Christian still has a race or two left in that 44 Bugles car. I think, in fact, including next week at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
And I think the reason why they're trying to do
Whoa, good run.
7th.
Told you, veteran right there getting the job done.
You don't have to worry about being out of provisionals
No,
today.
sir.
Crew chief, radio, man. Get on that radio.
Stop.
That is more than enough.
That'll work right there. We've just not seen anyone pick up on that second lap. Unless you really miss your mark, we've seen you're just not going to run quicker.
That's the 11th guy right there by my count that has broken the track record here today also.
Second lap for Green, slower by just not even 2/10. So he pretty much backs up that first lap, which is 7th quickest.
Pretty good, ain't it? That's 7th right now. Did a great job, man. Really, really good.
Dave?
And Jamie McMurray getting buckled in here. Jamie, 35th on the sheet today. What have you guys been struggling with?
Just car's just been tight. We changed quite a bit of stuff just now, so kind of taking a chance, but we didn't really have a lot to lose. So hopefully Haviland Dodge will be a little bit better.
All right, even a little bit better would be good in this case, guys.
33 drivers have taken time, 12 to go. And here's DJ. Dale Jarrett's found the car, or it found him. And the Robert Yates number 88, UPS Ford, qualified 6th at Talladega, his best run of the year so far. He'll make his 525th career start on Sunday.
And this group is trying to find the checkered flag here at Kansas because they have failed to finish the first 2 races here. Again, one of the dozen or so teams that elected to come out here and test last week. This is a brand new race car, only tested. He was 19th quickest in practice at a 30:41. 30:41 right now would put you 17th, 18th right in there.
Started 6th here last year, and this first lap is good for 10th.
30:24. So he picks up a good 10th and a half from his practice speed.
10th overall and 2nd among the Fords to his Yates Racing teammate, Elliott Sadler.
Right now in the top 10, looks like Dale Jarrett's decided 1 lap is enough. In the top 10, we have 3 Chevrolets. We have 4 Dodges, 2 Fords, and a Pontiac. So right now, with a handful of cars to go, a lot of parity throughout the top 10.
Yet to come, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the Winston Cup point leader, Matt Kenseth. The number 35 is Bobby Hamilton Jr. up from the Busch Series. The Team Marines Wawa Ford. That's a chain of convenience stores.
I thought you wanted some water.
I know you did. That's why I explained.
A lot like in their Busch car. They use Yates motors in this Winston Cup effort. This group attempted the Winston Cup race back in Atlanta in March and missed the show. But now Harold Holley, as you see him get pretty wiggly and loose there in turn 1 and 2. Harold Holley looking after this car as well as the Busch car. But you know who else I seen wandering around looking after this car, helping Harold Holley? Was old Clyde McLeod, who's been in the Busch Series forever.
Yep. Well, not forever. He was in modifieds before that. With
almost
Fred
forever.
Bodine and Mike McLaughlin.
But he's been there a long time.
Yes, he has.
Good run, Bobby Hamilton Jr. He'll be racing on Sunday, 13th quickest, 30:33. Good run.
I'd say so. He broke the track record, and he's in the race. So again, I said, yep, there you go, crew chief that time. Shut it down, bring it on in, brother.
Good move.
Good run.
He said, I just want to start the race. He's definitely going to start the race.
And the 3 fastest Fords, as you pointed out, have Yates power. Sadler, Jarrett, and now Hamilton. And here is Matt with the 3rd fastest Dodge driver.
And his crew chief, Gary Putnam. He's a former modified winner at Thompson as a crew chief. What about your effort? This is outstanding, Jeff.
I didn't know that about Gary. I had to tease him a little bit. Yeah, it's just a credit to Gary and all the guys at Petty Enterprises to give me a race car that I can drive around the racetrack with the pedal down. And got a new look for our Berry Brush Cherries Dodge this weekend. And ever since I stepped in this car, I've had a lot of fun. So hopefully I can keep that up, Matt.
Currently 7th, matching his best start this year.
Another standout of the modified division. Used to drive this car, Steve Park. Sorry, John Andretti is behind the wheel of the Pennzoil Chevy. If you're driving around New England tomorrow looking at the fall foliage and you're in northeastern Connecticut, come by Stafford Springs. You'll see the Busch North Series and the NASCAR Modified Series in action beginning tomorrow at noon. A race rained out from a week ago. We'll be taping the Busch North race for Speed Channel.
Looked like possibly John bottomed out getting in the middle of 1 and 2. The car shot way up the racetrack. John was 30th quickest in practice. Mike, he's one of those drivers that the future of next year is just not known. Looks like there's going to be a lot of vacant rides available, but no one has actually tapped John to sign him next year exactly just yet.
First lap for Andretti, not encouraging, 30.98. That's 34th of 36.
But right there is where he had problems. The first lap looked much better that lap, so he should possibly pick up on his second lap.
And it looks right now, still with 9 cars to run, that at least 2 of the cars that are out of provisionals are going to be among the bottom 9 and have to head home. So that'll put John Andretti safe in the field regardless of this lap. He does pick up a 10th.
But no position.
So he will join fellows like Ward Burton, Derek Cope, and perhaps Mark Martin in provisional land. Dave?
Matt Kenseth waiting on the line, guys. He was just pushed up here momentarily ago by his team. This is obviously we saw the wreck at the beginning of the show in practice. This is the backup car, but it's the original motor. The motor was not damaged significantly or at all, actually. So they took it out of the primary car, put it in this car.
Which means wherever he qualifies this car, they will be able to start there because they presented this car with the race engine prior to qualifying. I know it gets confusing, but the big key is have your race motor in there in the backup car prior to qualifying.
The easiest way to remember, it's a 1-engine rule per weekend, not a 1-car rule. Jamie McMurray in the Texaco Haviland Dodge.
Guys, when I was down in the garage this morning talking to the crew chief on this car, Donnie Wingo, I asked Donnie, are you about ready for the season to end? He looked at me. He said, believe it or not, no. This team, along with Jamie McMurray, they're starting to get basically their chemistry really working well. They're getting a rhythm together. And on his first lap, he's already 12th fastest, but they feel like that they can win a race before the end of the season. And some of these racetracks coming up, especially at Charlotte next week, they feel like they got a great opportunity to get into victory lane.
Well, considering he was 35th quickest in practice, you told him,
wow.
You heard him say how many changes they made to this race car. Looked like they went the right direction with it.
And that's what Donnie said right now. He said, our communication has just gotten so much better that when we're off a little bit, we can sit down and work it out and get good results. And I think this right here is a testament to that right now.
You know, that second lap was only 6/100 slower, so McMurray a strong effort in 12th. He's been the top rookie 8 of the last 9 Winston Cup races. 37 drivers have taken time of 45. 8 cars to go, including Casey Mears in the Target Dodge. One of a number of young drivers running both the Busch and the Cup race here in Kansas to gain seat time. Bobby Hamilton Jr. being another.
We talk about seat time, but again, talking to his crew chief, he was talking about how Casey might be the number of races they're running right nowadays. It could actually be wearing him down a little bit. They're feeling like that he's getting a little bit tired. And when I'm talking about the crew chief, that's Jimmy Elledge. And Jimmy said that he's going to run over 60 races this year, plus all the tests with all the ARCA and the Busch, as well as the Cup that they've been doing. So he feels like mentally maybe that Casey's getting a little bit, you know, worn out toward the end of the season.
Yeah, all this didn't start till about the end of May, 1st of June, right about Dover time, or right about Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Well, it's paying off.
Look at that, 10th quickest, Mike.
He's qualified 6th for the Busch race, and this lap puts him in the top 10 for the Banquet 400.
He's picked up 3.5 tenths from what he practiced, and he's not finished with 1 lap. Again, we don't anticipate he'll be quicker, but that is a good lap.
Hoping to make his 5th top 10 start of the season. Falls off about 3 tenths. on lap 2. Dave Burns.
All right, Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting buckled in. How tough has Jimmy Johnson made it for you to repeat as pole sitter here, sir?
He's made it pretty hard. He's been running good all day. They run pretty good at tracks like this. Heck, they run pretty good everywhere, but it's going to be tough for us to beat him. We haven't been quite as strong as we were last year. I think everybody sped up, come here and tested and improved on their stuff, and we haven't really done that. We tried to use our tests for other places. Hopefully, you know, whatever they gained on us in qualifying, we can make it up on Sunday. So try to get ourselves in the top 10 real comfortably in the top 10, maybe even the top 5 if we're lucky.
Guys, you just cannot sit still in this sport, can you?
No, you cannot. If you won with it this week, probably next week, if you don't make a change, you'll run 5th. Next week, you'll probably run 10th.
Ho! Hang on.
Right in the same area that he had problems in practice where he wrecked over there in the turn 2 area.
Matt Kenseth coming back after a practice crash earlier today, trying to put this backup car in the show.
The only thing he can hope for is that he gets his momentum back coming to the start-finish line to start his second lap. We know this lap's not going to be quick, 32:20. Think about what happened over there and try to adapt to it.
Well, that's what separates drivers at this level from the rest of us. The ability to hop in a car that they haven't run and sail it off into that corner and hope it sticks.
And watching what's going on here, that first lap, I believe that car went down and actually bottomed out. I seen tire smoke and some sparks out beneath the bottom of it. I also saw it bottom out just a bit off the turn 2, so I'm not really surprised as Mac puts down the 35th fastest time in a car he's only had 2 laps in. So it's a pretty good job of saving that car. Otherwise, he would have been going for another car.
This was down in the middle of turn 1 and 2 when all this pretty much started. Picking up the throttle, coming off turn 2. Car just got loose with him and just he had to walk it up the racetrack. Had to come completely out of the throttle. Pretty much that lap is dead. So you anticipate 35th quickest right now with about 4 cars to go. Going to be close to provisional land.
And here's what happened to Matt earlier this morning. On what, just his second lap on the racetrack?
It was very early in practice. And, I talked to Robbie Reiser this morning before this practice crash, and they had so high hopes. Not that this car, they've unloaded in a good race car. There you see Matt getting out, everything good shape. But that, as you heard, I think one of our guys saying earlier, it's the car that he won Las Vegas with and had a good run at Indy and Fontana.
Steve Park in the AOL Chevy of Richard Childress. Park got word this week from car owner Richard Childress that he will not be returning to that team next season. Childress reinforced his commitment to Steve to keep him in the car through the balance of the season, but that he is looking for another driver for 2004.
And they're not shortening a contract. That was pretty much their agreement all along, was through the end of this season. In fact, for the most time, it was only through about the end of September, but Steve lays down a good lap after missing the show at Talladega last week. 15th quickest on his first lap, 30:32.
And Childress in his statement again reinforced that Talladega had nothing to do with the decision. It's a performance business and it depends on results. And so they will make a change at the end of the season. But Steve Park comes here to Kansas and lays down a lap good for 15th fastest. Sixteen cars have broken the track record here at Kansas as Ricky Rudd brings the Motorcraft Ford out onto the speedway. And Jeff, 24 cars in the Busch Series broke the track record, 16 so far here. That's incredible.
It really is, but I keep going back to it. Weather conditions are great right now for making horsepower in both qualifying sessions, but I really have to believe that this new right side tire that Goodyear has come here with, they felt like the racetrack was seasoned enough. They could soften that tire up just a little bit, get a little bit more grip out of it. I think that's really helped allow these guys to drive these cars down in the corner and get after this throttle like they have been able to do all day long and break this track record.
Rudd started 8th and finished 3rd in the initial Winston Cup race here in 2001.
We talked earlier, 4th quickest in practice. Let's see what Ricky can do here on his first lap. The car looked good.
17th, 30.35.
And he slowed down just under a 10th from what he ran in practice. He ran a 30.27. This team's starting to build a little bit of steam here in the late part of this 2003 season, trying to get to victory lane like a lot of teams before this season's over. They came here and tested as well last week. Slows down a 10th on that second lap, so he'll be right now 17th quickest.
4 cars to go. And Johnny Sauter will be one of the 2 cars that goes home unofficially. The Kodak Chevy is out of the top 36 and out of provisionals. Dale Earnhardt Jr. heads onto the speedway. Let's go back 1 week. Oops.
A lot of damage to the nose of that car, and that type of damage would kill you about anywhere, but of all places, Talladega. But you have to give that aboard to this Budweiser crew. They got a lap down, they got the free pass, made their lap back up, came back and led the race some, and ended up in second place right behind teammate Michael Waltrip. That's 2 races in a row that crew has responded to problems that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had and fixed that wreck, come back to win the race in the spring and finish second this race.
For a team that started the season in NASCAR's version of Family Feud, they have really gelled and responded. And as you say, over these last few races, really done a great job for Junior, who puts it on the front row, outside pole.
Good run, good run. And I would say, I just don't anticipate him running a second lap.
Drove down into 3 too quick, you know. Should have stayed out a little bit. I pushed up the center there. That was it. Good job today.
That is a good lap. Good starting position, especially considering Matt Kenseth is probably going to start back in provisional lane.
By 14/100ths, Junior misses the pole. That is currently held by Jimmy Johnson. Dave?
Tony Raines was scheduled to go out first today. His car just now being pushed to the line. Describe what happened this morning, Tony.
Well, we had broken oil pump, and the fluid was coming out of it, spraying all up underneath the engine bay, and it had oil on both front tires, and it wouldn't turn and it wouldn't slow down, and it was a pretty good car right up until it hit the wall really hard there in the middle of 1 and 2. So we'll go out here and shake this car down. Maybe we get it on time. If not, I think we'll be all right on provisional, and we'll work on it in happy hour, but not been the best of days.
You know, Mike Joey usually knows those things. Mike, they still got a provisional?
Yes.
Oh, okay, very
yes,
good.
They
Confirm.
Mike Skinner driving for Jerry Nadeau in the U.S. Army Pontiac 01. The Bubble Boy right now. Larry Foyt is on the bubble. Last week, same song, next verse. 1 car goes faster than Foyt and goes home.
Michael's 9th quickest in practice. Outside pole from Mike Skinner in this 01 car. Good run, 30.05. Get on that radio, Ryan. That'll be enough right there, buddy. And, of course, Mike will only be in this car 3 more races, including Kansas, the final 4 races. Since they run Hendrick Motors, have an agreement with Rick Hendrick, they've elected to put Brian Vickers in this car for the final 4 Winston Cup races of 2003.
Nice desert camouflage paint job on that car this week.
These guys, they have a bunch of paint schemes.
Yes, they do. What a run for Skinner. Outside pole, and he lacks only 12/100ths of Jimmy Johnson's pole run.
That run that Jimmy Johnson made, that's one of those laps where you go, if you can beat it, have at it.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to say the same thing, Larry. It seems like right here toward the end of this qualifying session, we've always seen it. It's always better to drive a big number, and it was kind of paying off for a lot of these guys. Mike Skinner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. were starting to benefit from having a late draw, but what Jimmy Johnson did about midway through this qualifying session is pretty remarkable.
Mike Wallace, who told us earlier he was struggling a bit with the Miccosukee Indian Gaming Dodge. You see that car looking a little nervous as it transitions coming off the corner.
Yeah, this team came here last week and tested 2 race cars. They didn't leave here very happy with their tests. Of course, this is the James Finch team that fields the 1 car for Jimmy McMurray and David Stremme on the Busch Series. Great run at Talladega last week, finished 10th, but boy, they have struggled here. And he's going to be 42nd quickest out of 44 cars here in this first lap.
But they are in the show, and the reason is 4 cars came here out of provisionals. And according to the order sheet, If they're not in the 36, Larry Foyt would be the first car to go home, and Johnny Sauter would be the next car sent home. So Mike Wallace will be in the race.
And who's sweating bullets right now is Kenny Schrader. He's on the bubble in 36th position. He's out of provisionals, but the good thing he may have going for him, we've already heard Tony Raines say all he's going to try to do is shake this car down. He's the only car left.
So Mike Wallace, 2 provisional land with a run that is 37th fastest, 30.71. Dave?
I thought I was going to be talking to Junior about being on the front row there, but then the 01 comes along. Tell us about your lap.
Yeah, it was a good lap. Real happy. The car was very, very comfortable. I made a few technical errors on entrance getting into 3 and made the car a little tight in the center. But still, you know, a lot of speed out of the Gilmore engine and just a great handling car. We came out of the trailer real comfortable, and Jimmy, they ran a great lap. They surely deserve it. And, you know, we'll just start on. I'm kind of glad I'm not starting on the outside of Jimmy going into 1 because you ain't going to probably beat him to the first corner. So I'll just follow him down in there and see if we can't catch him after a few laps.
Yeah, I think we might see the 48 and the 8 sort of take off on Sunday, guys.
We'll see. Nonetheless, it was a great run. That's not amber waves of grain there in the grass. It's the American flag. Those are the stripes, and the stars are at the top of the screen. The way they have cut the grass here. Whichever looks pretty cool.
This whole facility is pretty cool. I mean, it's very fan-friendly. It's very competitor-friendly. And, I mean, I look around this place at the things that has been built up. Mike, we were talking about it earlier. It's amazing, the things that has been built up. But, Dave, I think you have the man that I finished my Winston Cup career with as a crew chief, outside pole man Mike Skinner.
That would be Mr. Skinner. And, you know, it wasn't a huge surprise to us. You were looking good on the sheet, but pretty darn good lap.
That's all I had. I thought about trying another one, and Ryan said, that's a 02 or 03 or something like that. And I said, yeah, Uncle, okay, I quit. You know, I knew that Jimmy was going to be hard to beat, and I knew that our Army Pontiac had a good shot at the pole today. The tires that we made our mock-up run on, I had a terrible corner in 3 and 4, and I didn't have a good corner at all and run a 30. And our other tires was really 3/10 faster when we scuffed them in. So I said, well, we can run a flat, you know, and a flat ought to be respectable, but wasn't quite good enough for us today.
Well, I thought we'd have trouble seeing the car because of the camouflage paint scheme. Now I think it's just because of speed, Mike.
Pretty quick. Second fastest for Mike Skinner. So here's Tony Raines in a backup car for Bill Bumgarner and Staff America, Bumgarner's business that they carry on the lower quarter panel as they search for a sponsor. And really, for a single car, unsponsored team, they have done a very respectable job this year.
I think they've only missed 1 race this year, and I know we spent some time with Tony last night at the Harrah's appearance, and pretty excited they're going to have Hendrick engines in this car for the rest of the year. Learned a lot about Tony last night. There used to be a chassis builder up there in around South Bend, Indiana, North Liberty, Indiana, called Ray Dillon, who built a lot of ASA cars, and his #1 mechanic on those cars for a number of years, setting them up and everything else, painting them, putting them together, Tony Raines.
Went on to win the ASA series, and he's in the top 36. He won't need a provisional.
Not too shabby a shakedown lap, guys.
Good lap. I just think that Tony Raines' driving ability and so many things about this race team, as you say, Mike, being underfunded, I just think they're so underestimated. I think if they had the proper funding, you'd be amazed at what they could do. He decides that 1 shakedown lap's about it.
That'll do it. Jimmy Johnson has won the Bud Pole in Kansas. We'll be right back. Jimmy Johnson's on the front row for the 2nd year in a row as he wins his 6th Winston Cup pole. Matt?
4 poles last year, 2 this year, and 2 big bullets you dodged right near the end.
Yeah, last year Junior got us at the end, and he came close again, and then Mike Skinner busted off a great lap. So it's great to see the 01 guys running well again. You know, obviously they have Hendrick stuff, and Hendrick stuff's running good. Okay, come with you. got Junior trying to get me out here to go do some media center stuff. But great lap for us. Very proud of all the hard work that's gone into this. Just like every single week, the support from Lowe's, support from the engine shop, chassis shop, and these guys working on these race teams, busting their butts. So it's a team effort, and today we got another pole.
Chad told me he is really excited about this weekend, considering you finished 10th here last year.
Yeah, we finished 10th a lap down because we had a flat tire. So, we felt like we ran in the top 3 most of the day, had a shot at winning it, and these mile-and-a-half tracks have been great for us. So if we just keep the ball rolling and stay on top of our game, we should be good Sunday afternoon.
For the second straight year, Jimmy Johnson will start on the front row here at Kansas.
And tomorrow he'll be in the booth for the NASCAR Busch Race here at Kansas. Johnson, Skinner, Chevy, Pontiac, Chevy, Dodge, Pontiac.
How about Jason Leffler?
And Jeff Green, all in the top 10. The first Ford is Elliott Sadler in 10th.
A lot of those championship contenders up there in those first 5 rows.
That'll make things interesting.
Good run for Steve Park. Again,
Yes.
just comes a few days after he's been told he will not be in this car next year, and he stands on the throttle. That team stands on the throttle qualifying.
I'll look back through the top 30. And provisional land looks like this. Kenny Schrader, Mike Wallace, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth back there in the provisionals with Ward Burton and John Andretti. Kyle Petty got the final spot on time. Derek Cope, Mike Wallace, Kenny Schrader. Now, who goes home? Johnny Sauter and Larry Foyt, because of the 3 drivers who didn't make the top 36, they are the lowest in attempts and then owner points. That's why Schrader's in the field, and those 2 go home, even though none of them have provisionals left. So, should be fun come Sunday. The Banquet 400 here at Kansas. 3rd Winston Cup race here.
I mean, amazing. 18 cars break the track record here in this qualifying session.
Well, what you're going to look at right now is a setup right now of a really exciting race come Sunday. And don't count out that man right there, Rusty Wallace, to possibly get back in the victory lane.
Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson, Bud Pole winner at Kansas.